Hey, it's Mike D at Down Pepper Tree Lane. We're talking about my memories of early jobs, and it's kind of going to circle into antique collecting and life lessons. Okay. So, we're at a beautiful park in Ojai, California, magical Southern California town. You're going to hear park noises. That's okay. So, like late 70s, most of the kids in my neighborhood were recruited for a paper route, or they tried to recruit us. They had little meetings at the park, and it was a way to get like a couple $100 a month, if I recall. And most of us had no money in our pockets. We were like 13. We wanted to buy albums and just good food at school, like extra snacks, and you needed some pocket change. So me and my friends signed up for paper routes, and it was 2 days a week, so a really good schedule after school. And they would dump all these papers at our house, and I think my route I had something like 50 subscribers out of 200 houses. And I had to collect too at the end of the month. Usually, people gave me no problem. When you're 13 years old, people like to see a young person working, and I never had a problem. This was also when people had a lot more cash and not just Apple Pay or anything like that. Everyone had a few bucks to pay the paper boy. But there's always someone who's going to be different, right? So this one family said they wanted me to porch it. Well, what does porch it mean? So he goes, that means you put the paper on the porch. I had never heard of that and didn't want people to know about that. So I said, okay. And I did it for him, which meant I had to stop my bike or pedal up into the driveway, throw it, make sure it went inside of his porch, and move on with my life. So he he paid me no extra tip, nothing, but it was odd. So several months later, he approaches me and he's like, I have an opportunity for you. I've been watching you. You're a fine young man. And he offered, I was 15 at this point, 14 or 15, and he offered me my first job at a jewelry store. He owned a jewelry shop. And that's pretty cool. I wasn't even legal to work yet. I don't know how they handled the paperwork. I forget. I really forget. But he didn't ask if I was of legal age. He just hired me. 70s were a little more hang loose. As I keep mentioning, they were a little more like computers didn't track everything. It was just kind of freewheeling. Lots of things were done on the spot. Um, so the lesson there is that whatever your job you're doing, people are watching you, and they might recruit you for a totally different job in a totally different field. So, I did a good job and it led to something else. So just remember, like, whatever job you're doing, there are people watching you. You're kind of on a platform when you have a position, and they may be looking for a good worker and they may offer you something even better. As a matter of fact, this kind of recruitment happens all the time. It's not really talked about or spoken of, but it's networking at the grassroots level. So I went ahead and went to work in the back room of the jewelry store. What I quickly found out is that hardly anyone buys jewelry or all the silverware, which they made me polish. Okay. It just sat there on the glass shelves. To my knowledge, no one ever went in and bought silver plates. Okay. I was there like a year and a half. And the way he made his money is by fixing watches, fixing rings, customizing jewelry, doing some wedding rings. And it was a lot of services for the community. And he had built up a reputation, and his wife worked there too, and his son. So family business, a lot of nepotism. Of course, the son got all kinds of favors, and you got to learn about nepotism if you're just starting out in life. That's when a family member gets special rewards and privileges and favors and can take a day off whenever they want. And that is how life works, I found out. So, okay. So I was at the low end of the totem pole. It was like, okay, get a broom and go sweep the parking lot, pick up trash. The thing about being 14 and 15 is you have a lot of energy. And I mean, I had just gone to school all day. I rode my bike over to the jewelry shop. I worked from 3 to 6, and I had tons of energy to burn. I just was at that age, you can just rock it. And this was before a lot of video games and computers, and well before, cell phones, which turned everyone into watching social media. So we did a lot of shipping and packaging. I learned how to package things and get them ready for UPS. And that was a good skill. I learned how to wrap and package all kinds of things. And we would play music. We would blast our music. There were a couple school kids my age that worked there as well. He recruited a neighbor and, a few other people. We had fun. I remember the summer of 80, the song on the radio all the time was Let My Love Open the Door by Pete Townsend of The Who. Whenever I hear that song, I go back to being in this shop in the back, kind of joking around, having fun. But, I had to do, the tougher tasks for sure. But I had the energy at that time. And I didn't have an ego yet either. My ego was soft. So able to take all kinds of directions and put up with BS. But it wasn't bad. They were nice people at this shop. So the most arrogant guy was maybe around 18, and he was a friend of the owner, a neighbor, and he was a jerk. He only did the cherry assignments, and this is how I learned a life lesson about karma. Okay. What happened is his job was to take a lot of money in a briefcase and drop it off at a bank. And he went off, and like an hour later, he ran back in the store with his hair all messed up and his clothing disheveled. He's like, "Oh my God, I got robbed. They stole the briefcase full of cash." And the jewelry owner looks at him coolly and calmly and says, "We just got a call from the bank. You left behind the briefcase, and now it's safely at the bank." So kaboom, like he was gobsmacked. He was embarrassed. He was shamed. He had made up a lie and been caught. He, like a fool, had left a briefcase full of cash at the bank and made up a robbery story. He was fired immediately. He was a family friend and neighbor. Awkward. So I learned about karma, about, he was a jerk. He got away with, not doing all of his work and passing it on to other people. He sowed bad karma at that job, and it slammed on him like a boomerang. And pride cometh before a fall as well. And that was an early lesson. I've always tried to be humble and not be that arrogant guy. I remember this lesson. And early jobs, I mean, it's really important to put that in your wheelhouse and learn a little bit about politics and work dynamics. And, I went on to a better job. There was nowhere for me to go there. It was a family operation. It was nepotism, and that's fine. They're allowed to do that. But in a tight family operation, I was not going to be promoted or anything like that. So I'll leave it there. Like I said, I'm kind of reminiscing about my life and sharing memories. And I have some collectibles and antiques at my shop, downpeppertreelane.com. Please like and subscribe and share and give me that energy back. And support my channel. Buy a cool piece of jewelry or one of the gift bags I have, or a collectible, and give me energy back. I'm giving you my energy, and I'm asking you to complete the cycle back to me. That's really important, and I do need that. And thanks a lot. This is a little nature hike I had at a beautiful park in Ojai, California. I strongly also suggest getting into nature, even if it's only 1 or 2 times a week, finding your hidden spots and your places to really contemplate what's gone on in your life, learn from it, make it better. Mike D. down papertreelane.com. Take care. Namaste. Bye bye.